Win a Pageant, Episode 17.
Hi winners, if you're ready for more in-depth pageant training, get the free 15-day pageant course at freepageantcourse.com. Let's win a pageant. Hi winners, welcome to another episode of Win a Pageant. I'm your coach, Alicia Darby. Today I'm going to teach you exactly how to respond when you meet a judge outside of the interview room. For example, in the hotel elevator. Now, if that hasn't happened to you yet, then get ready because it is not unusual. And if it has happened to you, then you already know the value of understanding how to approach this type of situation. Now, first, it's important to recognize that many pageant staff go through so many hoops to keep their judges mysterious and even almost quarantined when they are not doing official pageant business. But most pageants know that it is a lot of work to keep a group of 5 adults on a leash. So at any event, whether it's a conference or a concert or a pageant, it is highly likely that you could truly meet some amazing people in the elevator. Now that is because while there may be separate meeting rooms or green rooms for the performers or entrance doors for different people or numbered tables, any other kind of hierarchical structures that separate the VIPs from the wannabes, if you will, the hotel elevator, everyone's got to use. That's why it's not unusual to meet a judge in that elevator. In fact, it's an amazing opportunity to connect with anyone in a short yet very focused amount of time. So think about it. An elevator conversation with a stranger usually lasts, 2 minutes? And it makes for either a very awkward moment, or if you have an amazing conversation, it can be quite a pleasant moment. But if you're not prepared for conversation, then those could be the longest 2 minutes of silence all weekend. The first time that this happened to me was I was about 12. I was at the Tremaine Dance Convention, and I was on an elevator with one of my dearest girlfriends about the same age, and in walks one of the cutest master dance teachers. And of course, that was like our Brad Pitt at the time, so we were totally caught off guard and we froze immediately, except for a few awkward glances between each other, like, is that him? Is that him? He gets off at the next stop and we immediately bust out in screams and squeals, asking one another, why didn't you say anything? We were both so shocked that we didn't even realize what had happened. Now, later that same weekend, the two of us ended up walking into an elevator with one of our favorite master teachers and a major role model, Desiree. And this time we were prepared. So when we got on the elevator, we immediately introduced ourselves. We started thanking her for awesome teaching and choreography and telling her how much we loved her. In my memory, of course, it seems very well put together and very lovely, although I'm sure it was mostly just gushing at that time. But either way, it was a huge improvement from nothing at all. In my life and travels, I've had the pleasure of meeting many intriguing people, CEOs, people on their honeymoon, some people from my hometown like 3,000 miles away, even the legendary fitness icon, Mr. Lou Ferrigno, who's the co-star of the 1970s Pumping Iron with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and the original Hulk, the guy, that superhero character that turns green and grows these huge muscles. And this, of course, happens all of the time at pageants. One of the things that is kind of a big fear for a pageant contestant is that she may sneak down with her hair all in rollers and one eyelash done, just in search of a cup of coffee and an apple from the lobby, when she bumps into a judge also going back up to the 30th floor with her, And it's obvious that she's a contestant, yet
Speaking from experience as a judge, for me, I don't want to make the contestant feel uncomfortable by acknowledging, oh, hey, you're a contestant with one eyelash on, sorry about catching you in this funny space. But it's really up to the contestant to say hello. And the elevator introduction is an amazing opportunity to communicate your just very true, authentic self and be consistent with who you are on stage, in the interview room, and in real life. Now, if you've ever met a professional miss, a pageant professional before, like Miss USA, Miss America, you would expect the same thing from them in an elevator. At the very least, a sweet hello. Therefore, I would expect the same from you. It is so refreshing to meet a woman who has a personality that's congruent with her performance. Wouldn't you agree? When you meet someone like that, it just lights you up. You feel better about it. So in order to not be caught off guard, you should always be prepared to just make a good impression. And I also want to remind you that beauty is not about the way that you look. It's about how engaging you are and how you make other people feel, their perception of you. So be prepared to be honest with them about who you are, to ask good questions, and to give fulfilling answers. The goal is to give the person that you're meeting something meaty to engage with. So you could say something simply like, "Hi, I'm Kara," or you could just say, "Hey, I'm here for the snacks." But that might not necessarily invite conversation. And where you can leave them with a great impression of you is by shining a little bit of your own sparkle and making them feel great. When you reveal your true self, you give other people the permission to do exactly the same. So you might even giggle a little bit about the situation. You might say, "Oh my, I wish I would have taken my hair out of these rulers. I'm sure they're cooled down by now," or something. And it's just comforting to everyone else because they don't feel defensive and they don't feel judged. So before any major event, whether it's a pageant or a career fair or a professional conference, anything that you'll have a chance to just meet some cool people, which, let's be honest, that could be just about anywhere, consider what type of people you may encounter and how you want to be remembered. Now, of course, I've got a step-by-step process for you. So the simplest way to think about this in the heat of the moment is to consider first the past, then the present, then the future. And then I like to follow it up with an engaging, open-ended question. So the example of that would be the past. Where did you come from? So what led you here to this moment? Just briefly. And then you want to talk about the present. So what brings you here today? What are you doing here? Or if you've met this person before, you might jog their memory so that they are reminded of you. And then the future. So what are your goals? What are your plans? What are next steps for you? And then an open-ended question to finish it with is any kind of question that cannot be answered with yes or no. So you leave it open-ended. They can kind of take it anywhere they want. So a great way of doing this, I've got 4 C's to give you examples of how this might kind of develop. The first is just simply in context. So if you do not already know the person, you might say something, for example, as simple as, "Hi there, I'm Kate. I'm from Orange County. I'm one of the contestants in the Miss category. I cannot wait to perform talent tonight. What brings you here?" So you're asking them first, you're giving them your introduction, a little bit about where you're from. That's your past. I'm from Orange County. I'm one of the contestants. That's the present. And then your future is, "I can't wait to perform talent tonight. What brings you here?" The what brings you here, of course, is the engaging open-ended question. But now you've given this other person so many different things that they can pull from. You've welcomed conversation. You've welcomed conversation about your name, about where you're from, about where they're from, about their role in the pageant, if any. You've opened up the opportunity to discuss talent. You're asking outright, "What brings you here?" You're giving them a lot of opportunity to jump into conversation. Now, maybe you already know that this person is for sure connected to the pageant. Maybe they're wearing a badge or they're in some way you recognize them. You just can't remember from where or something like that. Here's a great example of how you might approach that. "Hi, I'm Stephanie. I'm from Miami. This curly hair is so grateful to be competing in the dry heat here in Vegas. Where are you traveling from?" So now again, you are using yourself as an example. You're giving them lots of opportunities to dive into conversation and you're asking an open-ended question. Now, here is the one that can be most terrifying for contestants. It's when you've already met the judge in an interview setting. And now you see them outside of that interview. Maybe the pageant still has, a day or two left and you kind of catch them in the middle of it. This is a great opportunity to just jog their memory of who you are so that they don't feel uncomfortable thinking, "Now, how did I meet her and which contestant is she?" You might say something like, "Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm the Miss contestant that created the gardening kits for children in Uganda. How are you enjoying your experience with the pageant so far?" So now you are giving them who you are, whether they remember you or not. You're not the whole conversation doesn't hinge on that. So you're not putting them in an awkward place. And you're also just inviting them to talk about their experience with a pageant. So it doesn't have to be specific to you and your experience. It doesn't have to say, "How am I doing so far?" or something, it's just friendly conversation. If the conversation's going well, as I'm sure it will for you, the next thing that they will likely do is they'll pick up the conversation. Maybe they'll ask you something specific. And if they don't, you might want to, this is the key of, especially in your professional environment, of managing the conversation so it flows in the direction that you want it to flow. The way I do this is knowing what my goal is for that weekend. So, for example, in pageantry, I'm always thinking about my legacy project. Now, your legacy project is basically what you're promoting throughout your year. Sometimes it's in conjunction with the pageant's platform, and sometimes it's a personal platform. But either way, you want to just get into the habit of interjecting this into conversation whenever possible. So, for example, you might say, "Well, one thing I'm really excited about is connecting with clubs and community organizations who are seeking speakers on the topic of healthy lifestyles. Do you know anyone that would benefit from this type of project?" That's my favorite line right there. Do you know anyone who would benefit from this type of project or from this offering? Because generally people are able to say, oh, well, let me think. Yeah, I can think of so and so and so and so. You might say, one thing I'm really excited about is interviewing hospital volunteers on their greatest struggles. Do you know of anyone that I might talk to? Or I'm really excited about getting the word out about my free online fitness program. Do you know anyone that would benefit from this? And oh boy, I can speak from experience. When I use that one, so many people are interested. And so I was just able to create an immediate connection. So that is our third C, connection. This would be the next step of this conversation. So they might say, oh yeah, I know about so and so and so and so, or hey, I'm really interested in that. So now you want to kind of solidify a connection with them. And this is where you would get contact information or send them to your web address or something like that. If it's something that you need to follow up with after the pageant, if the conversation's going deeper and you can feel that, maybe you're getting closer and closer to the floor they're getting off at, you might say something as simple as, would it be okay with you if I followed up after the pageant? What's the best way to reach you? And I like saying what's the best way to reach you so that they have the opportunity to give maybe their cell phone, maybe an email address, maybe they just want you to friend them on Facebook or something along those lines. Now, what I know from experience is most of the judges are really excited to talk to the women that are competing. So it's more highly likely that they will say, I would love to connect with you. Why don't you find me on Facebook? Maybe they don't have a pen or they don't have their card on them or whatever. So they might spell their name for you, or they might say, hey, reach out to me later. We'll definitely connect. So then the close, your final C is, thank you so much for your conversation. And then I love to say something that just builds people up. I love speaking life into people and just really making them feel awesome. My goal is to just leave people feeling glittery all day long. So I might say something, even if it's as simple as, hey, it's always nice to meet great people like you at these types of events. And it just leaves people with that little glitter, that smile, that little sparkle, that little jive in their step, And then that's a wrap. It's truly that simple, but it does take practice thinking off the top of your head without the worry of feeling judged. If two humans get on an elevator together, they absolutely should interact. And I believe that if a pageant girl is in there, then everybody better be leaving feeling all glittery. The elevator introduction is a great tool for networking in any situation. So of course, it doesn't have to always take place in an elevator. That quick introduction is really impactful at career fairs or charity galas, vacation getaways, airport interactions, really anywhere that you want to leave a lasting impression. Now, if you're really serious about your pageant competition and not just winning, but really doing an amazing job and having a really spectacular year, then I cannot say enough that you've got to get the free pageant course. It's free, obviously, and it's 15 days. And essentially, when you sign up for this, you will receive one email every day with a new lesson. You get the complete pageant preparation plan, which gives you the 4-phase program of how to prepare for your competition. You'll get guides to teach you how to communicate who you are in your interview. You'll learn how to express your pageant personality on stage. There are so many things in that free course, and I really don't want you to miss that. I cannot stress enough how much this will help you to prepare in every way that you communicate and to really increase your level of confidence. So if you're ready to get started with that, you just go to freepageantcourse.com. You'll enter your email address and you can get started right away. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.
To learn more and to get valuable resources to help you win, visit winapageant.com. Hey there, I'm Alicia Darby, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching that last video. If you totally loved it and got something from it, would you just click subscribe right here to subscribe to our YouTube channel? Hey, I am here for you, and I've got so many more trainings and videos for you. In fact, this one would be a really great one to watch next. Or if that topic doesn't interest you, then try this one. It's my most recent video training. So I think both of these would be really great for you. Thank you again so much for subscribing. I am honored to be your coach. I'll see you again soon.